Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're jumping straight into Solana, or SOL. It's a blockchain that's, well, been making some serious waves. You hear about the speed, the low cost, this growing community. It feels like something big might be brewing for 2025, especially post-halving, right? With projects maturing.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what we're here to do today. Really dig into SOL's price potential, specifically looking ahead to July 2025. We're going to, peel back the layers, technicals, fundamentals, the bigger economic picture, even the regulatory stuff. The aim, to give you a solid data-backed perspective, help you make more informed decisions in this pretty fast-moving crypto world.
Okay, let's get into it. Starting broad, the macro environment. What's been happening, say, late 2024 into 2025 that's setting the stage for crypto?
Well, a big factor has been global monetary policy. Think about the Fed starting to ease rates back in the second half of 24. That really acted as a catalyst, didn't it? Pushed investors towards riskier assets, and crypto definitely benefited. It was like a green light.
Right, cheaper money looking for a home.
Exactly. And then you had the SEC approvals, Bitcoin, Ethereum ETFs. That was huge in 2024. It wasn't just about confidence, though that was part of it. It genuinely opened the door for, serious institutional money to come in.
So the suits are really in the game now. Does that fundamentally change things? More stability, maybe? Or just bigger players?
It definitely signals market maturation. Bigger fish, yes, but also a broader base. And it's not just finance. We're seeing large companies actually integrating decentralized tech, gaming, DeFi, Web3. They're building on these things. That's just belief in the underlying tech, not just speculation.
Okay, so the backdrop seems pretty positive. More acceptance, more real-world use starting. But how does that translate to Solana specifically? Let's look at the charts. What's the raw data telling us?
Right, the technicals. As of, let's say, May 2025, SOL is trading around $165-ish. What's interesting is the overall trend since mid-2023, it's been pretty consistently bullish. That suggests decent underlying strength. Maybe less seen as just a volatile bet, more of a growth asset.
And the specific levels. Where's the floor and where's the ceiling we should be watching?
Key support levels, think of these as safety nets, are around $140 and $120. Places where buyers tend to step in. On the upside, resistance levels, the hurdles are at $180, then $200, and the big one is $250. That $250 is a major historical point.
Okay, 180, 200, $250.
Okay.
So fast forward to July 2025. What do these levels suggest? What are the scenarios playing out technically? Like if we hit $200, does it tend to stall there?
Good question. For July 2025, that 180 zone is the immediate test. If we break cleanly above that, it signals fresh bullish energy. Now, $200, that's a big psychological number. Often you see some consolidation there, profit taking, maybe some hesitation. But if SOL pushes through and stays above $200, that really opens the door towards that $250 level, potentially new all-time highs.
And the downside, if things cool off,
if there's a market correction, that $140, $160 range becomes critical support. That's where we need to see it hold. Basically, technically speaking, as long as SOL stays above $140, the bullish case remains pretty strong. A monthly close above $200. That would be a very powerful signal that the rally has legs.
makes sense. Strong support, key resistance hurdles. But like you said, charts aren't everything. What about Solana's actual engine, its ecosystem, the projects, the users?
Fundamentally, Solana's adoption is, well, it's genuinely impressive. Thousands of dApps. DeFi, NFTs, gaming are really big areas. And something quite unique is Solana Mobile. The Saga phone, other mobile stuff. It's not just a phone with crypto. It's a strategic attempt to kind of bypass the usual app stores, embed Web3 directly. That could be a massive deal for getting everyday people involved. A potential game changer, really.
Interesting, bypassing the gatekeepers. But is the growth real user engagement or just money-chasing hype? Are there standout projects driving this?
That's key, isn't it? Real usage. And yes, projects like Radium, Orca, Jupiter and DeFi, Metaplex for NFTs, they have sticky users, not just capital flowing in and out. And the fact that new projects, especially combining AI and blockchain, are choosing Solana, that says a lot about its perceived tech advantage.
Can we quantify that? Any key metrics for 2025?
Yeah, estimates point to total value locked, or TVL, maybe hitting over $15 billion. That's assets in its DeFi ecosystem. Daily active users potentially exceeding 2 million, that's engagement. Transactions per second, TPS, over 3,000, that's the performance. And if SOL hits $250, you're looking at a market cap potentially over $90 billion, puts it right up there with the big players. These numbers show a network being heavily used.
Okay, those are definitely some strong fundamental indicators. The ecosystem seems buzzing. What about future developments? Anything major on the roadmap for 2025?
Yeah, in the first half of 2025, expect major network updates. Focuses on security, scalability, keeping that engine running smoothly, even getting faster. Also, lots of work on global immigrations, deals with fintech companies, gaming platforms, basically making it easier to use Solana worldwide. And we're seeing more institutional interest. Hedge funds, even mutual funds, starting to look at SOL for diversification. It ties back to that market maturity point.
Sounds positive on the development front, too. But let's talk risks. What are the potential bumps in the road? Regulatory hurdles, competition.
Absolutely need to consider the risks. Regulation is a big one. Potential SEC actions against tokens, uncertainty around rules in the US and Europe. Thought there's a shadow. Changes in policy could definitely impact things. And competition is fierce. Ethereum's upgrades, chains like Sui, Aptos, Cosmos, they're all pushing hard, investing heavily.
That's a lot to navigate. So how is Solana tackling these? What are they doing about regulation, about staying competitive?
They're trying to be proactive, working on compliance, talking to regulators internationally, trying to be seen as, a serious player. They're also doing educational work, even lobbying in D.C. to help shape favorable rules.
And the other challenges, decentralization concerns, network stability.
Right, those exist too. Regulatory uncertainty is just inherently tricky. Then there's the perception issue. Some feel Solana isn't as decentralized as, say, Ethereum. That matters to some users. And yes, they've had network outages in the past during peak times. They're working hard on fixes like FireDancer, but it's a known operational risk they have to manage. Plus, that competition isn't going away. Everyone's innovating, marketing hard. Solana has to constantly prove its value proposition.
Okay, a very clear picture of the landscape, the opportunities, and the challenges. So let's pull it all together. Given everything, the macro tailwinds, the technicals, the strong ecosystem, but also the risks, what are the realistic price projections for July 2025?
All right, bringing it home. Solana is definitely in a strong strategic spot. Good tech, growing use, favorable macro. For July 2025, assuming things generally hold steady, we see a few potential scenarios. Optimistic case, maybe Bitcoin pushes new highs, institutions keep buying. SOL could reach somewhere between $220 and $250. Intermediate scenario, steady growth, no major shocks. Probably looking at $180 to $210. Conservative scenario, if the market pulls back moderately or some bad news hits, maybe around $150 to $170, holding that key support zone.
Clear scenarios. What are the main things people should watch to see which way it might lean?
Definitely keep an eye on the overall market leaders, Bitcoin and Ethereum. They set the tone. And specifically for Solana, watch its reaction at those key resistance levels, $180 and especially $200. How it behaves there will be very telling. A strong break could fuel the optimistic case.
And finally, based on all this, any strategic pointers for different types of investors looking at SOL?
Well, for more aggressive investors, buying near those support zones, maybe $140 and $160 with a stop loss below $120, could be an approach. Betting on that bullish trend continuing. For conservative folks, maybe wait for confirmation. A solid break above $180 might be a more comfortable entry point. And for the long-term view, given its fundamentals and role in Web3, keeping some SOL exposure in a diversified crypto portfolio makes a lot of sense. It's a major player.
Okay, fantastic. That's a really thorough deep dive into Solana's potential for July 2025. Understanding all these pieces, the big picture, the tech details, the ecosystem buzz, the risks, hopefully gives you a real edge navigating crypto.
Exactly. And maybe a final thought to leave you with. As blockchain evolves so fast and competition is so intense, think about how Solana manages that balancing act, balancing rapid growth and cool initiatives like mobile against those nagging concerns about decentralization and network hiccups. How they handle that might really define their long-term success beyond just the price next July. What does that balance mean for Web3 overall?
A great question to ponder. How do these platforms mature and scale responsibly? Lots to think about. We encourage you to keep exploring these fascinating developments. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive. Until next time.